All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever found it super hard to move on from someone, you know how absolutely draining it can be. So, in this explainer, we're going to unpack the real reason it's so tough to let go, and more importantly, show you a clear path to getting your power back. This is the big question, right? Logically, you get it. You know it's over. But emotionally, you're just stuck. So why? Why does this person still take up so much rent-free space in your head and in your heart? And this quote, it just hits right at the heart of it. That feeling of being totally depleted, it's not just in your head. It is a real energy drain. Think about it. You are actively sending all this attention, all this energy, over to someone who is just no longer in your life. It's a one-way street, and it's exhausting.
So, that brings us to this first idea, the loop of attachment. You can think of it like a mental hamster wheel. You just keep running, and it keeps you stuck, totally preventing you from moving on.
And this is what that loop looks like in real life. You're thinking about them over and over. You're replaying conversations, you're trying to figure it all out, trying to solve this puzzle of what went wrong. But here's the twist. All that overthinking, it's not actually about finding an answer. It's a sneaky way your brain tries to avoid a certain emotion, that raw, painful feeling underneath it all. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. We have to make a big shift in how we see this. The big idea here is it's not actually them you're attached to. It's the meaning. It's the story you've created. Let's try a little thought experiment. Imagine I'm holding up a normal AA battery, just a battery. And I tell you, it is so hard to let go of this battery. You'd probably look at me like I'm crazy, right? Yeah, of course you would, because why would it be hard? It's just a battery. It has no special meaning. I could just drop it. No problem. But what if I told you a story about it? What if I said, this isn't just any battery? This was the battery in the camera that took the photo that launched my career. See? Once I assign it this powerful story, once I glorify it, suddenly it's almost impossible to let go. It's not a battery anymore. It's a symbol. And this is the whole point. You are not letting go of a person. You are letting go of a story. The story you told yourself that they were the one, that this was your one chance at happiness. That story is like the glorified battery, and that's what's so hard to release. Now, this leads to probably the most empowering part of this whole idea. Because if the story has all the power, well, you have to ask, who wrote the story? Who is the common denominator in all of this? Okay, another little thought experiment. Imagine you get a text from them. You've been feeling awful, and then boom, your phone lights up. It says, I miss you, I made a mistake. How would you feel? You'd get this instant high, right? You'd feel amazing, like you're on top of the world. All that sadness just gone. But then, imagine another text comes through. It says, sorry, that was a joke. Just like that, you'd crash. Hard. All the pain comes flooding back, maybe even worse than before. Now, stop and think about that for a second. Who is the source of that incredible feeling and that awful feeling? They didn't actually do anything. They just sent some words. The source of that emotion the entire time was you. And that's the big secret. You are the common denominator. You were simply using them to give yourself permission to feel good emotions, emotions that were always inside of you to begin with. You weren't getting love from them. You were using them as a reason to access the love inside yourself. When you really get this, it's so freeing because it means you don't actually need anyone else to feel those amazing emotions. You hold the key. So, let's talk about your path to freedom. The first thing you have to do is just stop running. Remember that loop of overthinking we talked about? It's a distraction. You have to get really honest with yourself and ask this one simple question. What emotion am I avoiding feeling? And a lot of the time, the answer is grief. It could be grief for the relationship, sure, but sometimes it's even deeper. Maybe it's tied to old childhood patterns, or maybe it's the unprocessed junk from every other breakup you've ever had all piled up. So here's the two-step game plan. Step 1, you have to actually feel the emotion you've been avoiding. Let the grief come up, just sit with it. Step 2, you have to start creating new meaning in other areas of your life. Pour that energy into your passions, your friends, your own growth. All right, this leads us to the true goal of all of this, letting go. But we have to be really clear about what that actually means because a lot of people get this part wrong. So many people fall into this trap where they think, okay, if I let go, then they'll come back. But you see what's happening there? That's still an attempt to control the outcome. That's not letting go. That's just a manipulation tactic. Just look at the difference. Letting go as a tactic means you're still hoping they come back. You're still avoiding the real grief. It's an act of control. But letting go as freedom, that's when you accept any outcome. You allow the grief to be felt. It's a total act of surrender. Because that's what this is really all about. The real liberation isn't about them. It's about letting go of your need to control the situation. The pain comes from trying to control something you can't. So I want to leave you with this final thought to chew on. What if this ending, what if it isn't a loss at all? What if it's actually an invitation? An invitation to finally stop looking for validation out there and to come back home to yourself.